butcher birds, these little ones. It's for the butcher bird, not for you. There. Hang on, don't bite my fingers though. Huge beak. You wouldn't want to get them in the get your fingers in the way, that's for sure. Hey, yeah, off you go. There you go, butcher bird. Kookaburras want some more. Where's the rest of the birds tonight? Actually, there's a little magpie lark on the back on that chair over there. I'll see if he'll come down. Peewee we call them, but they're a magpie lark. Kind of like a small magpie, I guess. Oh, you found something. Good on you. You want something too. I'm going to have no food left at this rate. Oh, don't fight over it. When you're back again, are you? Hang on. Oh, no, that one was way too big. That was bigger than your head. Oh, look, a baby magpie. Hello, baby magpie. Where did you come from? All right, I can hear you. Hang on. The video's coming up to 4 minutes already. Can't be much longer. There you go. Did you get it? G'day guys, welcome back. I'm going to do a coaster pour for you today with my new mould that I've made. Very exciting. And I'm going to do navy blue. I don't have a navy, so I'm going to use this one here, sapphire, and I'm going to add some black to it and see if I can get a nice dark blue. And I think I'll add a little bit of the Pinata Alcohol Ink as well, just because the ink with the mica, with the plain resin, make really nice little patterns. Before I get started, I had a phone call from the people at Barnes. You know how I've been using the Barnes Clarity? And I thought, oh, maybe they're ringing to say thanks for promoting our product, because they've sold out of the Clarity, Australia-wide sold out. So anyway, I got on the phone and no, they weren't ringing to say thank you at all. This quite rude woman gave me a hard time, basically abusing me for telling everyone that Clarity was heat resistant. Now, have a look at this. Here. This is what I was reading. This is the specs that comes with the Clarity. And here, I mean, I'm no scientist, so I just read it from here. Heat distortion temperature, 145 degrees. Now, doesn't that sort of make you think that it's heat resistant to 145 degrees? I did. I figured that was the case, but apparently not. So, I have been told in no uncertain terms that it is not heat resistant. So, Barnes, you know what you can do with your resin, don't you? I won't be using you again after that rude phone call. Now, I am using today, Stone Coat Countertops. And this is the Art Coat. Okay. Art Coat? Yes, Art Coat. So that one's a really good one for coasters. Rightio. I have mixed up, I've got 400 grams of mixed resin. So the art coat is a 1-to-1, so equal parts, which makes it really easily. I am in the process of just researching what resins are heat resistant. I have been speaking to a couple of companies yesterday, very lovely companies, and I'll be getting some of their products shortly, so I'll be doing pours with that very soon, so stay tuned. Right, now let's have a look at this sapphire. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a big scoop, like a heaped, it's only a little teaspoon, but we'll do a heaped teaspoon of the blue, like so. And I'm not sure how much black I'm going to need, but I think we can always add more. So let's just put that much on the end of a stick, because I don't know how strong it is. Okay, and then we'll pour some. Now I thought I'd do this last time, but I didn't do it. I'm going to pour just a tiny little bit of resin in first, and I'm going to mix that to a paste. Because you know how your mica powders fly all over the place when you mix them? So I thought I'm going to do the same as what I do when I'm making a gravy or a sauce. You know, just add a little bit of liquid first, get a paste. That way you don't get your lumps. Is that a good idea? Okay, so that's still quite blue. Let's add some more black. Oh, now I'm going to have to use another stick. Another blob. I'll just wipe it. I can use it again. You probably can't see in there. It's a little bit dark. Hopefully that wasn't too much. I guess that was probably maybe half a teaspoon. So 1 teaspoon of the blue, half a teaspoon of the black. Okay, so that's mixed to a nice paste now. So let's add, and I'm going to go with half a cup. So these little cups measure, they're 4-ounce cups, which is 120 mils. So that's half a cup there of resin. If it's still looking a little bit too blue, I might have to add some more black, because I really want a nice dark navy. I don't have a navy. And I really wanted to do a red one as well, and I don't have a dark red mica powder. They're either like a pinky red or an orangey red. So I thought, oh, what am I going to do with that? That looks pretty good. I am going to add another little bit of black. I just want it, like I want it almost black, but just a tinge of blue shining through. So that should be enough. Now I've got my mica sitting on top, which is not what you want. But hey, I'm learning how to make navy here. I'll just stir it gently. And then I'm going to put in a few drops of the alcohol ink. Just because as I said, the alcohol ink and the mica powder together, they give you these beautiful sort of striated, stripy kind of patterns, you know, from the outside in, which is really nice. But you do have to have enough mica powder, I've noticed. When I started doing these resin pours, I wasn't adding enough, and it was kind of just sort of floating over the top. I wasn't getting that really beautiful striated sort of pattern that I wanted. Let me show you this navy. It's looking good. There, look at that. What do you think of that? It's still got a blue tinge to it, but if you look at the side of the cup there, it's quite dark. So hopefully, here we go, we focused again. Hopefully that will be a nice colour. Probably would like it a little bit darker, but for now it will do. And I'm going to add the Pinata Alcohol Ink, that's the sapphire. Give it a good shake. And I'm going to do 1, 2. I'm only going to do 2 because, again, I don't want it to go too blue again. Hope it doesn't make it go too blue. I just want it for the reaction. I don't really want it for the colour. Oh, I could have put the black in. Hang on. I'm going to put black ink in there as well. That'll counteract the blue, won't it? Where is it? There it is. Yeah, that'll make it a bit darker too. That's just the what is it? Mantilla Black. Black. All right, let's put a couple. I probably didn't need to use the blue actually. I probably just needed to do the black. So now we've got 2 drops of black, 2 drops of blue. And we've got a teaspoon of sapphire mica powder, half a teaspoon of black mica powder, and hopefully that will look really pretty. All right, so sorry about that. That took a while, didn't it? That took longer than I thought. That's for my clear. And then this one, I'm going to have another go at this. This is it's by Artisue Creations, and it's the Rich Gold. It's actually a metal powder, like real pieces of metal. It's not a mica. So I'm going to just, I think I need quite a decent amount. I'm going to just put what's on the end of the stick there. And it's only going to be for my centers, so I don't need a lot. So I'll just put a little bit of resin in. You can go in there because you're going to be for the, whoops, too full. You're going to be for the clear. And then just a little bit for the gold. Look at that. It's like liquid metal, liquid gold. And because it's a metal powder, I've been told it kind of floats to the top rather than sinks. So hopefully when I put my little bit in the middle afterwards, hopefully it will kind of stay on top. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. Oh, there's a bit of fluff. There's a bit of fluff. I have cleaned them already. I have cleaned my molds. I got the masking tape out and ran it across and stuck them all down and got heaps of little hairs and bits of fluff and stuff up. But yeah, it's just in the air, isn't it? It floats around. Okay, so you two can just sit there for a minute. I think I want it darker, you know. I'm going to go with more black. Hard to know, but you know, if you've never made up in navy before, bear with me while I stir this. I know it's taking a long time to get ready, isn't it? Sorry, I just wasn't sure how much black to put in. See, when I'm doing my acrylic pouring and I want to make a navy paint, I use like 99.9% of phthalo blue, and then I have a tiny little bit of black, and it makes my navy. But this is totally different, obviously. Might even be half-half. 50% blue, 50% black. Might be the way to go. I'll put another 2 drops of black in. I really want a nice dark blue. Almost black. Almost black. And this is going to be for my edges. So my coaster molds that I made up some new blanks, resin blanks. I sanded them and I poured this. It's a smaller, it's much thicker, it's a smaller one this time. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Better be, taking up all your time. All right, here we go. Now I'm going to just go around the edges. And I'm just going to put a little bit on first, just to make sure I've got enough to go around everybody. And then I can add a little bit more if there's any left. So I may not fill these molds up all the way. As I said, I only made 400 grams for 6 coasters. And I don't mind if they're not filled up all the way. I may do a top coat afterwards, or I may just have slightly thinner coasters. I've decided I don't really like the really thick, chunky ones. I don't really like them more than, say, 6 millimeters thick, which I think is more than enough. I think they just look a little bit more delicate, pretty when they're not so thick and chunky. I think the last mold I made, they were about 8 millimeters thick. They seemed a little bit clunky for me. So this one was a little bit thinner. The mold making process didn't go to plan, I must say. So I don't know if I'm going to show you the video, but I'll do another one because I've learned a lot from doing this mold. But yeah, I'll do another video. That's pretty much used it all up there. Put a little bit more in those edges there. I think they're all very similar. And then I'm going to pour the clear in, and that will kind of push over the navy, and then when it all comes back in again, that's when we get those gorgeous little strappies. I'm just going to pour some of this resin out because it's too hard to pour a full cup, and I only want to get it in the middle. Right, here we go. Pour that into the center. Got a little area there that I haven't got any colour in. I figured it would sort of spread on its own, but it's not really. I'll just make sure that they're all pushed in. There we go. It's going to push it all into those little corners, little edges. Make sure it's all in there, just so that we get the same sort of pretty effect happening on all sides if it's all pushed in. How are we going on here? All pushed in, not quite. Because it's a homemade mold, it's kind of got the rock look edges, so they're not straight up and down, which is really nice. So they're a bit sort of wonky. There we go, pour that in so it's just covering the top. Now let me clean my mess up here that I've made. Got my little baby wipe handy. Don't want to dirty my brand new mold. It's the first time I'm using it. Okay, now some more clear. You can see how that one's almost come into the middle there. I hope I haven't put too much of the blue in. Whether or not I'll have a slightly transparent center, I'm hoping to, but whether or not I get that is another question. So I'm pouring about half a cup in here, just basically letting that clear spread and touch the edges there. It's about half a cup. And then we can watch and see what happens. Watch it all flow back in. Okay. Now I might put a little bit more clear in, just to kind of fill them up a little bit more. I'll use up a bit more of the resin. I don't want to waste it. Let's pour that straight into the middle. And if your cup's too full, it's really hard to pour into the middle. It kind of runs down the side of the cup. All right, now you could do with a little bit more. I'm just going to fill these up with the resin I've got so I don't waste it. See, last time I used my 6 coaster mold, I think I made up 480 grams, and then I still put a clear coat over the top, so they can hold quite a lot, but I just don't want to fill these too much. Okay, trying to make them all even. And then what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to wait for a little while for the resin to kind of set up a bit and for it to stop flowing into the center. And then I'm going to put my gold in. That's pretty good, actually. I'm just using it all up. I'll put a little bit more in there just in case I run out. I'd hate to run out of gold. You never know, it might sink or something and then, you know, I haven't got enough. So let's just pour some more resin in there. It's about 1/3 of a cup. I am going to have to add more gold now though. All right, let's have a look, see which one needs a little bit more. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I'll bring you in a little bit and we'll put you on pause and we'll come back and I'll give it maybe 10-15 minutes and we'll see how it looks. It looks so dark through my screen. When I was standing in front of it, it looked quite light. Oh, I haven't torched. Hang on, let me torch and then I'll put you on hold. On pause, I should say. It looks much bluer from this side here. And there's already something in there. You've got to be quick, don't you? You've got to do it, cover them so nothing gets in there. Don't think I'm going to add any more clear because I'm starting to get those little, I don't know what they're called. Someone knows what they're called, let me know, those effects. I call them striations from there. So I'm not going to put any more clear in there because it might disrupt those little patterns, striations. All right, put you on pause and I'll see you back here real soon. Rightio, I think it's been about 15 minutes and I tell you, I am a bit hesitant to be putting any gold on them because I just love what they're doing. I'm actually getting dendrites in there. I'll take you down later for a close-up, but well, actually you probably won't be able to see it because I'm covered up with gold, but we've still got a clear center. You can see the white through, that's the mold underneath. But look, I wanted to try this, so let's do it. I've got my gold. It'll probably ruin it, but oh, anyway, I can always do another one with just navy, can't I? Let's put a little bit in the middle. You won't put too much in to begin with, and I've got to be really careful I don't drip it onto the side anywhere. Put a little bit on. I can always add more later. And I'm going to torch this, and then what will happen is it will kind of spread across the top. It'll sit on the surface. We'll get this little shimmery gold surface, which is really pretty. You can't, look, I'm using such a tiny little bit. I've got my my pyramid coaster ready to go to fill up with leftover, so it'll have a gold tip. Just going to make these all about the same. So as you can see, this gold is basically falling through because it's mixed with resin. You can actually just like dust the gold onto the surface and then torch it. So that's another option, but that'll be for another day. So let's just see what happens with this now. Give it a bit of a torch. Okay, so it's kind of sunk a little bit too much, I think. Oh dear. Looks like a bit of a blob of dog poop sitting in the middle. Oh, now what do we do? Okay. I think I probably need a bit more. do that and then torch it straight away. It's okay if it smokes, it just does that. Actually, you know what? Let's not do any more. I wonder if I can get that gold out. I probably can't. Probably can't get it out now. No, look, I'll just leave it. Put it down to an experience. I'll put the gold there. So what I'm going to do is, and I'll show you the difference. I'm just going to take a little bit on the end of my stick, like that, and I'm just going to tap that. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And just tap it lightly above. And basically it's just going to stay on top. Only you need a tiny little bit. It's kind of flying away. Got a few little bits that have kind of flown around, but that's okay. So that was a tiny, tiny little bit. But doesn't it look elegant? Just a tiny little bit now. Let's give you a tiny bit more. And then what I'll do is just torch it. And it'll just basically melt it. I'm just trying to cover up my gold blob underneath. And give it a little bit of a kind of a spreading kind of a look, I guess. Just so it's sort of more thick in the middle and then kind of just spreads out a little bit. Now look, now I'm getting too carried away. Less is more, Julie, less is more. Isn't that right? Okay, I'm trying to make them even. You'll see what happens anyway. Once I torch, it kind of melts. Because I don't want to leave it like that, because if you left it like that, you would be able to feel that raised edge over the top. Now, just a little bit of heat. Start from up high. And just want to melt that. So not too close. But you can see how it's staying on top, which is really pretty. If you just want a little bit of gold just sitting on top. Now what I do need to do is, I need to make sure that I've dissolved all the powder. Otherwise you'll be able to, you know, feel it on the top. It'll be raised. So I'm just heating it a little bit more, making sure that I've dissolved all that. And there we go. Probably put a little bit much on. I'm a bit upset now that I've got that big blob of gold underneath, but hey, maybe we won't notice it. This will be the top for sure. All right, I'm going to take it down for a close-up, and you can see what you think. If I can get my gloves off. So still going to have that tiny little bit of a translucent center. Yeah, see, I can see the white there through and around that gold. If you've got a big blob of gold like that and you wanted to break it up a little bit, you could just torch it like that, and it, oh, well, it's come back in, but you can just torch it. And see how it, don't worry about the smoke, it's okay, it does that. But it kind of breaks it up a little bit. If you don't want a big clump, but yeah, that's fine. It's fine. All right, I'll take you down for a close-up. They do look very black from up here, that's for sure. Right, let's go down and have a little look. Hopefully you can pick up the fact that they're blue. I'm just going to turn the ring light off. Maybe by turning that ring light off, you might be able to see that they're actually navy blue. Okay, but what do you think of that gold on top? It's pretty, isn't it? I do like that. And as I said, it just sort of floats on top. So you don't get that big... Come on, focus. What's your problem? Why won't you focus? It doesn't know what to look at. Are you looking at the white blob? It's looking at the white light. All right. And oh, my colour's going all weird. But yeah, we'll definitely have that translucent centre. Yeah, it just doesn't know what to focus on. It's having trouble. Poor little thing. Now this one, the one that I had the more, oh, there's my finger in the way, more of the blue around the outside. I'm trying to show the effects. It's really hard to pick it up though. Probably have to wait till it's dried. But have a look over the top. Beautiful and shiny. And see that little bit of gold floating on top. What do you think? Do you like that? I should have just done that to begin with rather than mix it with the resin. But yeah, I'll put it in the top of my pyramid before it goes off, so that'll be the first layer of my pyramid mold. Yeah, I can't really do it one-handed. I'll come back tomorrow. We'll show you the unmolding, and then we're going to paint the edges of these babies with some gold. So we'll see you then. Good morning, everyone. It's the next day, chilly winter's morning. I'm very keen to get these babies out. Wow. I think I'll do a flood coat, just a little top coat, just because I can see a little lip there, and they're probably not very deep because I didn't fill the coasters up. Let's see how they come out of my new coaster mold. Oh, it's out. Let's have a little look. Now, hopefully you can pick up the fact that it's blue. Do we have some translucency in the center? Oh yes, you can see my hand through the... Let me change my magnification there. Okay, so you can see that it's navy, and you can see that little bit of transparency through there. So look at that, that's really pretty. Now that's the little lip I was telling you about, that little bit there. So I'll just give it a flood coat, and that'll basically just bring it up to the top. But what do you think of my gold sitting on top? Do you like that? It's pretty, hey? All right, shall we have a look at the back? Let's see what's happened. Oh, yeah, not much. See the gold blob? That's what happens when you put gold in. You just get this big blob. And it all sunk to the bottom. Now, I did probably put a little bit too much mica in, so it's quite heavy. It's all sunk as well. But this will be the top for sure. Right, let's get all the others out. I'll try and be a little bit quicker. And I've got my glove on so that I'm not putting fingerprints. So this one's much more transparent. I just wish I didn't have that blob sitting in the middle, because then you'd get a much prettier look, wouldn't you? Look at the dendrites I've got on this one. It's kind of like feathering. I have to excuse my overhead light there. I do need light in my studio. It's a bit dark. I've only got one little natural light window. Look at that. Isn't that weird? That's so pretty. Again, I just wish I didn't have that big blob sitting there. Like that. Definitely will try these colours again and just do the sprinkle on top without the blob. So really pretty like that one. Oh, look, they come out so easily. Beautiful. Oh, this has got that little V shape. That was that one where the I don't think I put enough of the navy mica in the ones that were towards the end. The first one I did had a lot, and then when I went through I didn't have quite enough. so it's a little bit thin on the edges, but it's got more of the transparency there. And look at my dendrites. Is that what they're called? I don't know. Really pretty little effects. That's the alcohol ink does that, I think. And there's my gold just sitting on top. Oh, actually you can see, can I feel it on a little bit? You can see it's kind of a little bit raised, that tiny little bit of gold. So when I do my flood coat, that'll just fix all that. And then if there's anything that I need to sand, I'll just sand, because they're not very thick. They're very thick, these coasters. Love it, love it, love it. Definitely going to do these again, and I'm going to make up a little bit more of the navy. Actually, I might try it in black next time. Again, there we've got a beautiful clear center, but how much prettier would that have looked if it didn't have the big blob in the way, hey? Much better. Would look much better. Now, I just don't know that I can show you that it's navy. Can you pick up the fact that it's navy? Yeah, sort of. So I'm going to do the flood coat. Do you want me to video it? Oh, I might video it. Now this one's really pretty. Looks like a, you know how you're lying in the forest? Maybe you're lying in the forest on the ground and it's getting dark and you're looking up through all the trees to the moon, and you're just looking up through all the branches to a little bit of clear area through all the treetops, and you're looking up at the moon. That's what I see. I know you don't have to see things in your paws, but that's what I see. Reminds me of forest. They do kind of look like trees, don't they? So again, really pretty. And just a blob on the back. Last one. And this one's a bit of a weird shape too. I must have run out of navy. But I love the sparkle. Do you like my sparkle on top? Look how pretty it is. And again, you've got that clear center. So the first one that I did, I put more blue mica on it. So it's darker, hasn't got quite as much of a clear center. And then these ones where I didn't have very much blue, I've got a much more, or a larger clear center. What do you think? Do you prefer these ones over the other ones? I don't know. If it wasn't such, like if it wasn't a weird shape, I would like it more. I don't know. They're all individual, aren't they? So, all right. So, I'll get set up to do the flood coat, and we'll do that, and then we'll paint the edges gold. So I'll see you in a minute. Don't go anywhere. Righto guys, I'm set up for my flood coat. I've kept the coasters covered just so that don't get any dust on them. And this is a drawer. So it's a little bit higher over here and then it sort of drops down a little bit. So for me to get good coverage over the top of these, because they're sitting on their little cups, I just had to put this end a little bit higher. So I'll put that back later when I'm ready to cover them again. Don't let me forget, will you? Right, now I've mixed up my resin. I've got it sitting in some warm water because it's a bit thick, especially on a really cold morning. It's quite thick. So I've mixed it for 5 minutes. Take it out of the water and just dry the bottom so that we don't get any drips anywhere of water. And I thought what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little spatula palette knife thingy just to smooth it to the edges. And because it's like, you know, it's lower down, it's just easier than using a popsicle stick. So I'm going to smooth it and then just take it to the very edges like that, so it just sits on that little raised rim, and hopefully that will work. Now I've mixed up 100 grams. I figured I probably need about 20 grams on each. If I've got any left over, I'll add it to my pyramid mold, which I've just got some gold sitting in there at the moment because that was the gold that I had left over from these blobs which didn't work. But anyway, right, I should actually just make sure that these are clean. I should have done that before, shouldn't I? Just make sure that they are clean, dust free, because anything that's on the surface will get trapped underneath my flood coat. So we'll just give them a bit of a wipe with a nice clean dry cloth, and we should be set like a jelly. And off we go. Here we go. Now I'm just going to pour a puddle into each, and because I've warmed up my silicone, it does spread better. I'll just put a puddle on each, and I can make sure that I've got enough. Oh, there's a hair. Get off. Get off my coaster. I'll just make sure I've got enough to go around. Oh, there's a hair. Go away. Oh. It's the same one. Oh, it's a bit of fluff, really. I've got my hair up. I always have my hair up. Can you imagine if you've got long hair and a ponytail and you bend over and you get your ponytail in the resin? Oh my gosh. Wouldn't that be awful? Has anyone done that? I don't think you could get the resin off, could you? You'd have to cut your hair. I'm actually going to just use all of this, and I'm not going to scrape. I'm not going to scrape it out. I'm just going to pour what I can. And not scrape the cup. And this will tell me if my table's level too. Right, there we go. Now, I hope I haven't got too much here, you guys. Need to spread that. And hopefully that little lip will just catch the resin and stop it from flowing over. And it may even have a slight mound, which is fine. I just don't want it to, you know, flow over and go down the sides and make a big mess. So just push it to the edges like that. I'm going to push you over real quick because you look as if you might overflow. I actually might have a little bit too much in here, you know. Probably shouldn't have poured it all in. Whoops, 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 whoops. Yeah, probably shouldn't have poured it all in. I thought I only was going to need about 20 grams on each. Just take a bit off before we have an accident. It runs down the edge. So again, less is more. You can always add more. Probably not a good idea to start with too much. Okay. All right, I've got a little bit left in there now into my cup if I need it. But resin is self-leveling, so now I have to be really careful here not to touch the other coasters, and just push that up to the edge. And oops, I don't want it to go over, because if it goes over and then under, then you get drips on the other side, and you know, you don't want that. So just have it sitting on the very, very edge, doming a little bit. You'll find that the resin usually does dome, and it'll just sit there quite nicely and happily, as long as you don't put too much on. Just spread it out to that little lip. And then you may not even have to sand. We'll see what happens once they're dry, but I might not have to sand. Or if I do, it'll only be a tiny little bit. And then once I've done this, I can get down low and look across the top into the light and see if I've missed any little areas, because it'll show with a little dip, a little sort of bare hole. And you'll be able to see that you've missed a little section. And then you can just go on and fill it. So this is very, very easy, just wiping it across with my palette knife. And it's just touching that little lip there. So it's very easy to do. Pretty quick. Much easier than using the popsicle stick. Get around here. I guess I could have sped this up, hey, but look, by the time it takes me to go around there and pause it and then do this, go back, unpause you, have it done. Doesn't take very long, as you can see. And then I'll give it a torch. So it's flowing nicely because I did warm that resin up a bit in the warm bath. And it doesn't look as if I've got any sort of flowing over the edges, so that's great. So I didn't want it going down the sides. And then, as I said, it gets on the bottom, and then you have these resin drips, and then you got to sand them, and it's just difficult. Okay, I think that's it. Now, the only problem is if you torch too much, you're going to really heat your resin up, and then it'll start flowing, and it may flow over the edge. So be extra careful when you're heating. I'm just cleaning this off before it dries so that I can use it again. I'll keep that with my resin tools, and that can be my resin little spatula thing. And I'm going to clean off my stick as well. Shouldn't do it over there, but you know how timber releases air bubbles when you put it in? Well, it does when you put it in resin or you put it in water. So I'll clean that off. And then it's got resin on it, and it's sealed, and then I can use that again for stirring without getting any bubbles coming out of my timber, because raw timber does release bubbles. All right, let's torch. And I don't have to worry about torching too close, really, because I don't have a silicone mold to worry about burning or melting. So just torch them. And then I'll get down low, 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 look across the top, see if I've missed anything, see if there's any hairs or fluff or anything in it. And then, oh, we're going to have to wait again. That's the only problem, isn't it? I was really hoping to paint the edges on these today, but I'm going to have to wait now until they're dry. And then I can do my edges. And I'm going to do them in the gold. I've got this gorgeous Montmartre gold. You know how each gold's a little bit different, sort of a shade? Some golds are more of a pinky gold, and then some are like a darker gold. And this one's a really bright gold, so I think I'll use I think I'll use the Montmartre gold because it's a really bright gold. So I can still see that there's some bubbles popping. Just don't want to, you know, make it too hot, then it runs over the edges. But I'll bring it down for a close-up, and then I'll give that another torch in a minute. So there's, is there a little bit left? Actually got a tiny little bit left. Can you see that there? I've just cleaned my stick. Oh my gosh. Look, I don't want to waste any of it, so I'm just going to pour a little bit of clear in on top of my gold. So if you don't want to waste any resin, it's a great idea grabbing yourselves one of these little, well, it's actually a big one. This is the big pyramid mold. It doesn't have to be a pyramid. It can be a square, a sphere, whatever you like the look of, really. I'm going to clean that again. Just to use up your leftover bits of resin. There we go, nice clean stick again. Let me torch this one. I've got to be really careful with this one though, with the torching. It got stuck. All right, so that's it there. A little bit of clear in there. Not very much, but it's at the point there, so I don't need a lot in the very pointy end. All right, let's go and I'll show you. Let's get down really low. Or if I can, get down really low. Getting old. Put you on focus, autofocus. All right. Now look across the top. See how, oh, there's a tiny little lip there, but most of them are doming nicely. And I shouldn't really have very much to sand at all. Tiny little bit of lip on that left front one. But yeah, looking really, really pretty, and nothing's dripping down the side, which is a bonus. All right, I'll bring you back when these are dry and I'll show you how I paint the edges. All right, stay tuned. Hey guys, so my flood coat has dried. I've gone ahead and etched or gilded those 5 coasters with my gold. I used this one here, the Montmartre Gold. It's a lovely shade. I tend to match whatever I've got on the top to the side because there's a few different golds and they're all different colours. Now the best thing to do with these, I've found, is after you've given them a really good shake, you'll have some paint in the lid there, and that is really good for just dipping your nib in, and it gives you just enough paint to do your edges. Because I find if you're dipping into the pot there, sometimes I get like paint all the way up to here because you just don't know how far to dip it. Anyway, when it sort of goes a bit empty, you can drop a little bit in there. But that's what I'm using. So this is just a used pen. It was my 18K Krylon gold pen, but it's empty now, so I just like to use the nib. Now, the other thing I'm doing is, because I've got a slight little lip on a few of these, oops, all I'm doing is, and I'm not going to do it here because I don't want dust all over, but I'm just going to use my emery board and really gently, I'm just going to like rub the edges like that. Okay, so I'm just going to go do that away from these so they don't get dusty, and I'll be right back. Right, there we go. Edges are sanded. You can see there, I only needed to do a tiny little bit, but you can see it's kind of gone white. So yeah, nice and smooth now. And the best way is just to feel with your thumb or your finger as to if there's a little lip there or not. And then you just give them a little dusting with a clean dry cloth. And I've got my little upside down cup sitting here to put the coasters on. If I put that there, just over there, you should be able to see that. Hey, let's move things over a little bit. All right, so you've seen me do this before. Just dip, hold your coaster like that, and paint away. And because they've got that rock edge, they look really, really natural because they're homemade, so they haven't got those smooth edges. They go in and they go out. It just looks, I think it looks really nice when they're like that. Natural look. Because you're trying to replicate agate, aren't you? Like agate slices. So you want your edges, well, I think it's nice to have your edges a little bit rocky like that. But I've got molds that don't have that, so you know, you use both. Use what you can, what you've got. And having trouble with my focus because it wants to focus on the things behind as well. So look, I won't continue with the whole edge. I've done half. So now turn your coaster over, and again, just use your little nib there to do your edges, your top edges. Oh my gosh. Just a very thin line. I don't like it too thick. Maybe if I stay down here, it might be easier. It follows the little line really easily. Just on your edge. I just think it looks more elegant if you just have a very fine line of gold. but totally up to you how thick or thin you want to do it. You'll find that, yeah, if you've got a rocky kind of an edge like this anyway, you might have some areas that are a little bit thicker and then some that are thinner, just depending on what your coaster is doing. So there we go. Very pretty, hey? All right, I'll go and get set up and put these babies out to show you the finished product. Let's pop it there to dry.